going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mama.Shlay, back with another video. If you are new here, welcome. If you're already subscribed, welcome back to see what's going on with your girl. Today I'm going to be doing the ethnicity tag. I get asked all the time what my background is, and nobody ever guesses correctly. You wouldn't believe I've gotten everything in the book, from like Indian to Jamaican, Trini, Portuguese, Hawaiian, like everything, every ethnicity you can think of. People have thought that that's what I mixed with, and nobody has rarely ever guessed correctly. So I'm gonna answer all those questions today in this fun little tag. I've gained a lot of new subscribers, so it's another way for you guys to get to know me rather than me just sitting here talking about a whole bunch of nothing. So with that being said, let's get right into this video. I was born in Toronto, Ontario, which is in Canada. You know, for those of you who are not familiar, the place where Drake grew up, the Six. But my dad was born in the Philippines and came to Canada when he was in his 20s. And my mom is also from Canada, but her background is Irish Scandinavian. So I am half Filipino, Irish, Scandinavian, and Canadian. That is my mix. Growing up, I've always identified more with my Filipino side, and that is only because my mom has no family. She's an only child. She doesn't have any cousins. She has like a few like relatives, but they're older. So I didn't really grow up with that side of my family. I was always with my Filipino side. And so that's why when people ask me what I am, like what do you mix with? I always say I'm Filipino white. And it's funny because someone brought that up. Why do you say you're Filipino first? Because clearly I don't look Filipino at all, and that's just like the side that I grew up with. I identify with them. Like that's where most of my weekends were spent, and that's where some of my fondest memories come from, is my Filipino side. So I am very proud to be Filipino, and honestly, like my mom's like thinks she's Filipino now too. Like she's an honorary Filipino. Every time we go out and she like sees Filipino people, she'll like, you know, drop a rant and like, oh, salamat, and they're just kind of like, what the heck is this white lady saying? Like it's really cute. So I actually went to the Philippines about 8 or 9 years ago now for a family reunion. It was definitely a culture shock when I went there. The amount of poverty that is there, like Philippines is considered a third world country. So I did get to experience that side of it, as well as experiencing the other side of it, like going to Manila, and I went to Palawan, which is it was a place that's rated with some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. I had the opportunity to go there, and then I also went to Tagaytay, which was my personal favorite trip. It's like in the mountains kind of, so the air is totally different. Like when we went there after being in Manila for like 2 weeks, like we went there and like I could just breathe so clearly. The air was so fresh. Like that was my favorite place. It wasn't so humid. We did this really cool excursion where, so it's basically known in Tagaytay for this volcano. There's a huge volcano within a volcano there. So we horseback ride through the mountains up to like this point, like this like looking point where you could see inside the volcano. Best excursion I ever did, like full on horseback riding, like trotting. It was crazy. We had to wear like masks because like the sand was like getting in our face. Like, and the awesome thing is that I got to do it with all my cousins. So me and my cousins were fairly close in age, like maybe about 2 to 6 year age gap between all of us, and I'm really close with them. So I got to share that experience with them, and it was also their first time going to the Philippines too. So that was really something special. Fun fact, when I went to the Philippines, I was actually 4 months pregnant and I didn't even know it. I only found out when I came back home. There were all the signs were there, but I just never really caught on to it. Like I was tired, but I just thought I was jet lagged. I was gaining weight, but I thought it was because I was eating rice every single meal. I was like super irritable, but that's just because we were traveling in a large group, and you know, when you travel with a lot of people, personalities tend to clash, and I just thought that that's what it was. I would love to go back with the kids, maybe when they are older, and maybe when I can convince Andrew to take this 22-hour long flight, because he is like not interested whatsoever. What part of the country are you and your family from? So like I said, I am from Toronto, Ontario, which is in Canada, best city in the world. Don't at me. But my dad in the Philippines, he is from Angeles City. I think Angeles, yeah, that's the province he's from. So he does speak Kapampangan. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I butchered it. but that's what he speaks, which is a different dialect than the main dialect, which is called Tagalog. So things that I've heard about like Kapampangangs are that they're really good cooks and that they're very beautiful and good looking people. I don't know how accurate that is, but every time I meet a Filipino and I tell them, oh yeah, like my dad's Kapampangan, they're like, oh, so pretty, oh, good cook. I'm like, yeah, well, my dad can't cook, and I mean, I guess thanks, I'm pretty, but that also has to do with my mom. When I went to the Philippines, we did get a chance to go and visit Angeles, and see his old house and where he grew up and all of that. So my favorite Filipino food is definitely sinigang. So it's this like really sour soup with spare ribs in it, and you put vegetables like edo, tomato, you could put carrots. There's this other vegetable, it's like okra, I think, yeah, okra in it. God, it's so good. Some people eat it, so there's different ways to eat it. You can eat it like on a plate where you put your rice and then you put the soup mix on top and all your vegetables and the spare ribs on top of that, and then you eat it like that. Or you can eat it in a bowl like a soup, which is how I always ate it. I always used to like take off the meat from the bone of the spare ribs, and then I'd put it in, and then I'd put my rice in and the broth and the veggies and all that, and that's how I would eat it. Like, oh my god, that is my favorite thing in the world. Other than that, I love lumpia, I love pancit. I can actually make caldereta, and I love caldereta. I've mastered caldereta. Andrew loves my caldereta, which is just like basically like kind of like a beef stew with vegetables. And I love bangos, like the dry fish that you eat. Like I remember eating that like pretty frequently. And I love longanisa and tocino. Like that's like typically like what a Filipino breakfast looks like, with rice, longanisa, egg, like so good. In terms of food, like on my white side, like Irish and Scandinavian, I have no idea. Like I really had like an Irish dish. Like I said, guys, I'm not in touch with my Irish Scandinavian side. And you know, like I hope to change that. You know, maybe this year like I'll focus more on learning more about that, because it is a part of me and I would love to find out more about that. Honestly, I don't really have many things in my house that represent my culture. The only thing I can think of is my Mama.Shlay caldereta mix right now. That's about as Filipino as it goes in my house. Oh, and maybe like chinelas. So chinelas are like slippers that you wear inside, like house slippers basically. I don't speak any other language, strictly English. I do know like some words in Filipino, but not much. Like, I remember growing up, my dad would always say like kili kili mabao, which means like stinky armpits. And I know like maganda, which is pretty, pangit, which is ugly. And that's maarte. Like maarte means like drama and diva. Like my family would say that a lot to me. They'd be like, oh, you're being so maarte, and I'm like, no, I'm not. But that's the extent to which my Filipino vocabulary goes. Like if you were to have a conversation with me and speak to me in Tagalog, I would just be like, okay, cool. Like, so that brings me to the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It was really fun to do. Hope you learned a little bit more about me. I learned a little bit more about myself. I learned that I need to learn more about my white side, like the Scandinavian Irish side, because I have no knowledge, and that kind of makes me sad that I can't even speak on that, but it's part of who I am. And I have like, you know, I only identify like with Filipino because that's just what I grew up around, but I'm gonna change that this year. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. You know what your ethnicity is. I would love to hear about it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss a video from me. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.